Welcome back, everybody. Another good day in the market, up 430 on the day, just about 1% on the portfolio. For the week, we're looking at about 1700, and of course, currently for the month, we're up about 6300. Overall, the portfolio, as you can see, is up 6650. Of course, about 600 of that is in dividends. Most of the stocks that I play are dividend plays. As I've said in multiple of my other videos, the purpose of this portfolio is primarily around cash flow, right? So this portfolio is designed to generate cash flow, but it doesn't mean that this portfolio, of course, is not going to see capital gains appreciation. Most of the stocks that I ended up getting into were many of the beaten down stocks. I didn't really overload into tech, as my goal was cash flow. My goal for the portfolio eventually, for the coming years, is to get to around between 1500 and 1800 a month in terms of dividend cash flow. I may push this to maybe even 4,000, depending upon what the foreseeable economic future is of the United States. We're going to have to wait and see, as there's a lot of economic news that is going to be unfolding over the next couple of months, and we're going to have to wait to see how we can strategically deploy cash and how many of these businesses are going to do, which businesses are going to survive, which businesses are going to fall. In my last video, I talked about CHWY, which was basically the Amazon for pets. If you're a pet lover, CHWY was basically one of the websites that many people were flocking to for all of their pet purchases, whether it was pharmaceuticals or pet food, toys, treats, basically anything having to do with pets. CHWY was, of course, one of the big plays that I was into. I did put a couple $100. I was about 1200 into the play. And of course, CHWY, and I had said it last time, I did buy it in my other portfolio. I did swing trade it in my Webull account. And of course, like I had said in my previous video, that CHWY had basically been trading in this channel, and we finally got a pop-up in the stock, of course, through the resistance, which was about $70. And now we're actually seeing a breakout today where, of course, the stock came out with news. It did beat earnings as well as revenue. And of course, after hours, the stock traded all the way as high as almost $84 in the aftermarket, and then it settled down slightly, down $1 afterwards. You're gonna have to wait and see how the market is gonna react, but we see that it did, even with after hours trading, it still ended above the resistance, right? So we'll have to wait and see what tomorrow's like. We see huge volume coming in on the day, so we could really see a little bit of a push to the upside, and maybe we'll see a little bit of a retest back at 78. We'll have to wait and see if CHWY is going to hold that 78, or if people are going to take profits and sell back off, and we might see an opportunity to buy the stock again at about 70. I'm thinking that the stock is going to push probably more towards 100. I'm going to keep adding a little bit to the play, as it is one of my tech stocks that I am putting a little bit of money, and then I can take that money that I've made in some of my risk plays, and I basically roll that money over into dividend paying stocks. That's typically what I've been doing with stock like JetBlue, CHWY, Dave & Buster's was another stock, the Gap that I was in at one point, and basically took all those profits, rolled that over. It took about to 4,600 in profits already. I'm up an additional 3,000 so far on the portfolio. But of course, this portfolio is designed for cash flow. This current portfolio is a 7% yield portfolio. So that basically means currently every month I'll get allocated $218 so far as of the end of last month. I've actually put more money into the portfolio, so of course I'm going to be experiencing further increases with basically the coming years. That is basically what I'm looking forward to with this portfolio. It's like I said, primarily designed for cash flow. Of course, with some of the riskier plays, as I said, I have been putting money into things like Switchback and Neo, as I do believe these stocks, of course, are going to trade higher. I wish I had a little bit more money. Unfortunately, I don't. So when I got in, as you can see, Neo basically trading at these price points. As you can see, Neo currently with resistance at 48, with a support of 45, and then your next level of support for Neo is going to be around 38, which is where I had initially wanted to get in. I did trade it. I did swing trade it, but I was a little late in buying it on the M1 portfolio. Switchback, on the other hand, as you can see here, not too much data. Currently, we're utilizing $24 is roughly your next area of support. We can go ahead and just kind of put that in there and basically hit the moving average. And that's where we basically took off from last time. But you can see that there quite is a bit of resistance, and that's about $34, where you can see we bounced. We tried to pop through, couldn't quite make it. We had a little bit of resistance, and finally we were able to break out. And again, switch back, of course, looks like it's trying to be trading higher to the upside. We're going to have to wait for some volume to come in, as the volume is still below average. As you can see, the average volume is about 10 million. We're currently about half of that, so not enough to really give it that really push. We'll have to wait. When it does, you're going to see switchback trade to the upside. And these are basically what I'm looking for in my current portfolio. Like I previously had said in my other video about stocks like some of the rotation plays, which I said was I had wanted to put in 10,000 into stocks like Wells Fargo, JetBlue, ExxonMobil. As you can see, all of these stocks are trading to the upside. David Buster's also trading a little bit sideways. We could see a little bit of a pullback, which is a buying opportunity for me because I was not able to allocate the 2,500. I did originally buy the stock down here. Let's go back to the portfolio. So if we actually look at play, as you can see, I already took profits. I already took 900 in profits on the play. I only had about, I think, less than 2 grand, maybe 1,800. I made 900 on that play, and basically are looking for a buying opportunity to get back in. As you can see, I have about 300 some odd dollars, but I'm up a little bit on the play. Same thing with JetBlue. As you can see, I already took profits in JetBlue from previously. I had bought it at 10, sold it at around 15. Looking for another opportunity to deploy cash into the play. As I said before, my goal is to put at least 2,500 into the 2 plays, just like I did with, as you can see, Wells Fargo. And as you can see, we're up very nice on stocks like Wells Fargo. You can see here what I'm up in CHWY, and then as you can see what I'm up in Norwegian. I did take profits previously in Norwegian. I was in Carnival Cruise, got out of Carnival Cruise, rolled all of that money into Norwegian, and so basically looking to add a little bit more money over the long haul. I do feel like a lot of these stocks may come down farther with some of the economic news that is basically going to be coming out over the next year or so. But this is basically what I'm going to be looking for. Looking for huge gains in stocks like Norwegian, Neo, JetBlue, Play. I mean, these are long-term plays that I'm looking for. These are long-term holds in things like JetBlue, Play, Norwegian. These are stocks that are maybe like a year or 2 out, where we're going to be looking to take dividends and of course take long-term capital gains. Wells Fargo is probably a 5 to 8 year play, depending upon what the economy looks like, and of course allocating funds. I'm going to be allocating a little bit more funds to stocks like CHWY and of course to Corsair for those who are interested in gaming. I'm a gamer looking to add a little bit more into the future. We should see a tech pullback. I missed a lot of the tech rally, so I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback in tech. That's basically what I'm going to be doing for my current portfolio. I think that's about it for what these are basically all of my dividend plays. I did end up getting out of ABVI. Was hoping to see a big pullback in ABVI. Unfortunately, it shot up and I really didn't have too much money in the play. I had about 800 bucks. I had made about $150 on that. Basically, it took my money and rolled that over into something else. Looking for some of these other stocks. I might put a little bit more into Simon Properties. Not quite sure if Simon Properties is going to see a little bit of a pullback because they're heavily basically doubled down on the mall sector. They're literally the #1 for malls. And then your #2 would be like Store Capital, which is actually doing quite well. All in all, the portfolio is holding up really well. Again, primarily purpose of this is for cash flow. I also, of course, started a Roth IRA for the long term, basically for retirement. As you can see, currently up about almost 900 on the portfolio. Only put in 4,600. We're up 900, and of course, this is so far has generated about 100 bucks in dividend. A lot of these stocks do pay dividends, so you can never say people can never say that you can't earn money with a lot of these stocks that primarily pay dividends. And again, most of the stocks that I looked for were either growth stocks that paid a little bit of a dividend, but the purpose of holding them was for growth. In this portfolio, that was basically my blue chip sector. But everything else was basically either high yielding dividend stocks, REITs that paid fairly high, closer to about 8, 9, 10% a return, and that's basically most of the stocks that I basically have put my cash into, and it's where I'm going to be allocating for the foreseeable future. Looking for some plays for the next month. Again, basically what I'm going to be focusing on for the next, probably for the next month or two, is basically going to be Norwegian, JetBlue, Dave & Buster's, and putting in more into Switchback, as I think both of these stocks are more than likely going to hit at least 100. I think NEO will end up hitting 100. We saw a little bit of rhetoric about removing China stocks. Gonna have to wait and see how that basically plays out over the next couple of months, depending upon who comes into power. Especially, I think if it's Trump, we might see a little bit more crackdown on Chinese stocks. Gonna have to wait and see. But basically, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll check you out next time. Thanks for watching.